Welcome back to Super Recaps. Now I'm going to demonstrate to you a film titled A Hard Day from 2014, which is an action and a thriller movie. Watch out for spoilers ahead. It's dark at night on the town, and Detective KO is dealing with two major issues. He should have been at his mother's funeral, but he's driving to his office since his squad is being investigated for bribery by internal affairs. Because he is always distracted by his phone due to calls from his sister and squad. He isn't expecting to see a dog in the middle of the road. He manages to avoid it just in time, but he hits and kills a man in the process. He sees a police car approaching while considering what to do, so he hides the body and himself among the trash until the cops leave. He then places the body in the trunk of the car and drives away, but his getaway is cut short when he crashes into a D.U.I roadblock. KO refuses to take the test because he drank during the funeral, so he tries to persuade officer. He tells the officers he only had a sip and that he's a detective. However, he continues to act suspiciously by preparing to depart the scene and adding an extra number to his police ID, which is an honest error he makes because he's scared. The officers don't believe him, so one of them calls the district to double-check his identity. Another tries to open the trunk of the car using his. This causes KO to get enraged and violent, so the cops use a taser to settle him down. At that point, they certify that KO is a detective, and he is free to go without issues. Meanwhile, Choi, Do, and the rest of KO's squad are in severe problems at the police station since Internal Affairs has discovered all of the bribe money. Their commander tries to stop them, arguing that they don't have enough evidence to make such an arrest, but the agents also show him a notebook containing a list of all the bribes they've accepted over the years. Returning to KO, he chooses to attend the burial after receiving another call from his enraged sister. He scolds his daughter Mina for still being awake, but they are interrupted before they can talk more. His squad arrives to speak with him. They want KO to be held accountable for the bribery, but he refuses to go down alone. A quarrel erupts, but KO's sister intervenes with a reminder that the casket is about to be closed. The squad departs, leaving KO to his bereavement. KO assists the coffin rites instructor in sealing the casket, as is tradition, and during this time, he receives a message from his squad informing him that Internal Affairs is going to visit him for a car inspection. He needs to come up with a swift means to dispose of the dead, and seeing the ventilation shafts help him devise a strategy. He goes out first to get a handful of balloons. Then he goes outside and opens one of the shafts, putting a remote-controlled toy soldier he took from his daughter. After that, he goes back inside and asks for one last moment with his mother. He has balloons with him, which he claims are for his daughter. When he's left alone, KO blows up the balloons to obscure the security camera and locks the door. He reaches the ventilation shaft, opens it, and activates the soldier by climbing on a table. While the toy moves slowly, KO begins removing the nails from the casket in order to open it. One of the workers at the funeral home notices all the noises he's making. The woman dials 911, but the door is locked, and the security camera is turned off. The guard must locate the director and request a key. This offers KO some breathing room to finish his plan, so he dashes to get the toy from the shaft, which is tethered by a rope. Because the other end of the rope is tied around the body, he pulls the rope attached to the toy and brings the body inside the room. Before resealing the casket, he places it inside the casket with his mother. However, there's one aspect KO overlooks. The man he killed is carrying a phone in his pocket. It's currently ringing from within the coffin. KO considers reopening it, but the director unlocks the door at that very moment. As a result, KO must sit down and act as if he is in grief. Thankfully, the director arrives after the phone stops ringing. The phone rings again later when the casket is loaded into the hearse, but the driver simply ignores it and sings along with the song. The day after the burial, KO is informed by the chief that Internal Affairs are off their backs for the time being. Now that it's taken care of, KO only has to deal with his last loose end, his car. When he spots a police car that is improperly parked, he intentionally crashes into it and easily blames it. By pulling rank on the officers, he was able to inflict it on them. Then he gets his insurance to pay for the repairs without anyone suspecting when the majority of the damage occurred. KO can now return to work. His squad receives a fresh case after seeing a demonstration of a new type of explosive. They need to find a murderer. When KO receives the case file, he is surprised to learn that the offender is Lee, the man he knows. He obviously can't inform the others, so he goes along with it and joins the raid. Lee's residence. There, KO locates the dog from the previous night and pursues it, understanding that Lee's house is only a few feet away from the crime scene. While scanning the route to make sure he didn't leave any clues, KO comes across Jinho, a cop who has arrived to investigate a hit-and-run incident. It turns out that someone witnessed the accident and contacted the cops, but it was from a paid phone. Jinho has no idea who the witness was because it was reported over the paid phone and reported anonymously. When Jinho mentions that the area has a security camera, things only become worse for KO. They'll be able to look through the tape to locate the vehicle. Choi is sent to work with Jinho on the footage by the squad chief, who believes that their collaboration will be beneficial because it might also show the killer. Ko arrives at the office under the guise of delivering something important. He brings food for his companion, and he can also view the tape this way. Thankfully, the video quality is poor and the car is speeding, so the license plate is barely visible. The number can't be read since it's too hazy. Later that night, his sister inquires about their plans for Mina's birthday vacation. He confirms that they are going away on a trip. She also wonders if their mother had a lover, as she went to see a fortune teller who told her their mother had a man by her side even now. The next day at the station, Ko receives a call from an anonymous witness who wishes to remain anonymous to write a report about Lee. Ko accuses him of being a prank caller and hangs up, but the man continues to phone, and even when Do answers the phone this time, the man expressly requests for Ko. When Do transfers the phone to him, Ko becomes concerned when he hears the voice inquire what he did with the body. Hanging up has no effect since the man immediately dials his cell phone. Ko runs out of the building to take the call outdoors, claiming he has no idea what's going on. The man warns him that he'll make demands shortly and warns him that if he does anything insane, he'll be reported. That's when Ko notices someone on the payphone who hangs up at the same moment as the unknown caller before getting into a taxi. Ko doesn't think twice about chasing it down the streets, but he isn't quick enough, and the cab escapes. The man returns to his own duties a few moments later and reveals that he is also a cop, Lieutenant Park, who was in the police car that Ko witnessed on the night of the accident. Ko finds that Choi and Do have been to the mountain where his mother is buried when he returns to the station, because that's where Lee's phone was last seen, but thankfully, they were unable to locate anything. Park continues to call him on his cell phone and his desk phone, and Ko keeps hanging up. This goes on for a bit until Park comes up at the workplace and punches him, and as soon as the squad intervenes to stop him, he claims that he mistook Ko for someone else. The other officers are relieved to see Park because it turns out he was the one who got internal affairs off their backs. Park goes to the bathroom, and Ko follows him there, locking the door and demanding to figure out what he desires. Park's demand is straightforward: he wants Lee's body delivered to him. Ko pretends he doesn't know where it is, commencing a fight in which both of them are injured. Eventually, you'll find both them in a stall. Park takes advantage of the opportunity to shove Ko's head into the toilet, leaving Ko with no choice but to accept bringing the body in order to avoid being killed. After driving as fast as he can to the mountain, Ko digs up the casket and retrieves Lee's body. Then he starts looking at it attentively to figure out why Park is so adamant about getting it. Lee's phone was discovered, as well as 2 bullet wounds that indicated Lee had previously been shot. When Ko hit him with his car, he was already dead. Ko returns to Lee's hideout to charge the phone, desperate for answers. He also discovers a card for a sketchy secret piggy bank in Lee's wallet. Lee's phone starts ringing and is picked up by Ko. After picking up, Ko hears a voice warning Lee that Park is after him. Ko checks the number in the phone to get some details on the guy who called. Ko discovers it's one of Lee's partner who lives nearby, so Ko decides to pay him a visit. On the other hand, Choi is going through the traffic tickets that have arrived for the squad's car. One of the traffic ticket is meant for Ko's car, but when Choi sees the security image picture of Ko's car, he cannot help but notice that Ko's car was damaged before his accident with the police, and car's model matches with the car they saw on hit and run footage. Returning to Ko, he discovers Lee's friend Joe, who attempts to flee as soon as he sees a cop. Ko pursues him and manages to catch him. So Ko takes him to the roof if he doesn't talk. Ko threatens to push him. Joe explains Park is a crooked cop who stole illegal chemicals from a case and began selling them, quickly establishing himself as a major drug dealer. All of Park's money was kept in a secret vault, but Lee took the key and hid it on himself. Park had shot Lee while attempting to reclaim his key. Ko returns to the mountain after freeing Joe and uses a metal detector to check Lee's body once more. Lee hid the key in his back, according to the detector. Ko finds it very disgusting, yet he still retrieves the small package hidden there, which a capsule. Ko drops the capsule on the ground as Choi suddenly shows up to arrest him for the hit and run. In Choi's car, Ko says that Park is blackmailing him and that he is the one who killed Lee. Choi offers to remove Ko's handcuffs, and Park calls Ko at the same moment. A crane lowers a cargo container on top of the car as soon as Ko goes out to answer the phone. Choi is killed when the container falls on the car. Park admits to doing it as a warning over the phone, reminding Ko that he wants Lee's body by 6 a.m. Ko threatens to turn himself in, so Park plays his next card. He's going to Ko's house to pay Mina a visit. Ko drives back to his house, breaking all speed rules, to save his daughter, but Park has already left by the time he arrives. Now that he can't turn himself in without jeopardizing his family's safety, Ko devises a plan. Ko returns to the station after ordering his sister to leave for the birthday trip without him. He goes to the station to acquire more bullets, and he also discovers the bomb from the demonstration, so he takes it with him and implants it inside Lee's body. The detonator is carried in his keys, making it appear to be a keychain. KO meets with Park in the morning to hand up the body. Park takes KO's gun and drops the bullets to make sure there aren't any tricks involved before returning it, but he isn't suspicious of the keychain. He also applies a metal detector on Joe's back, which reacts to the bomb. This makes Park believe that the key is still in Lee's back. Then he tries to shoot KO, but KO lies and says there's a timed email waiting for him if he dies. It will be sent to the station to explaining everything. Park is impressed and lets him go. However, as soon as he walks away, the bomb goes off, which pushes the car into the lake. KO takes the bullets and reloads his gun and stands by the water for a few minutes, making sure Park is not coming back. KO returns home, thinking the situation is finished, and places the gun in a bookshelf's drawer, preparing his bags to join his family. However, as he is about to leave, Park appears and assaults him. The two guys are fighting throughout the flat, and while fighting, Park pushes the bookshelf, which makes it almost impossible to get the pistol back. KO rushes inside the bedroom and shuts the door with some items. While Park is busy trying to break into the room, KO gently climbs over the balcony railing into the next window. Opening it enables him to re-enter the living room. He tries to get his hands on the gun once more, but Park hears him and comes over to restart the fight. The two men end up falling into the washroom, where KO takes Park of him by spraying steaming hot water on Park. Park notices the gun poking out of the bookshelf as KO tries to return to the bookshelf, so now they're both trying to reach it at the same moment. During the scuffle, they accidentally fire the gun, and Park is killed by the stray bullet. Following that, there's a massive police investigation into Park's illegal business, and KO's hit-and-run crime is launched, but the higher UPS decide to cover it up in order to safeguard the institution's reputation. KO plans to resign so that he can spend more time with his family, possibly by starting his own little business, as his sister had always wished for. But first, he must plan for his mother's proper funeral, and while doing so, he must supervise this time. Everything goes fine this time, and he also discovers the capsule on the ground while burying his mother. KO goes to the secret piggy bank, guided by the card he acquired in Lee's hideout, and utilizes the key to Lee's vault, allowing him to get access to a fortune far greater than he could have anticipated. Subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.